Welcome to the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. Wherever you are today, if you're starting with nothing or are well on your way to the success you desire, with the right people, processes, and promotions in place, you will be unstoppable. And now, I'd like to introduce your host, Mike Stromsoe.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. This is a very special podcast, to say the least, because we are doing something we have never done before until today. That's because we've never had an incredible teammate join our team like the incredible Anita Hernandez, who's our guest on the podcast today. Hey, Anita.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's already been a handful of weeks or so, and I'm already excited to be a part of the UPP team.
Oh, we are pumped and excited to have you part of the UPP team. And thank you for agreeing to share what's happened so far in your journey as part of our team with everybody out there, because, you know, what we've learned is there is lessons here in the journey that we've had so far, and your willingness to share with everybody out there the lessons that you've learned as, you know, going through the recruiting, the interviewing, the onboarding, and now the training within the UPP organization is a lesson for everybody. And thank you for agreeing to give your thoughts from the team member side about what you've experienced so far, because ultimately, Anita, it's going to help everybody out there in the Unstoppable Nation to be better at finding the best teammates, not the best available, which we talk about in our culture eat strategy and everything else for breakfast piece. So thank you.
Nope. I'm excited to be here and kind of talk about our journey of how we both found each other, you know, as me trying to look for different opportunities, and then how we kind of just stumbled upon, and it worked out perfectly with our organic reach and being able to kind of have the connections fall into place.
Yep. Thank you. So ultimately, at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. We believe that. But, you know, in the people, the processes, and the promotion, the elusive first P, as many people affectionately call it, can be the most challenging. So pay close attention today. Take copious notes on exactly what Anita shares, and listen from a mindset perspective, because our mindset is our skill set. And she will share her unique perspective from the team member side. So people that you're talking to about a potential position on the team, listen closely and try to envision how that will play into your own situations. So you ready to go, Anita?
Absolutely. Yes.
And let's go. Yeah, go ahead.
No, absolutely. You go.
Yeah. Let's remind everybody, you know, some of the strategies. If there's people out there who are either watching this and or listening to it, who might be looking for their next excellent team member, the best, not the best available, how to find these people. Okay. And then we'll share how you found us and we connected, and on we went from there. Okay. So I'm looking at our culture, each strategy, and everything else for breakfast piece. And, you know, of the best people out there in the world, like Anita, 20% of them might get introduced through your personal network. 50% of them might get introduced through your employee network. So if you got team members on your team, they also have a personal network, and they have people that they know. Only 10% of the best are found on online job boards, and 20% are found out in the wild. And out in the wild is things like vendor supplier networks, your client network, your association groups, church peer groups, carrier marketing reps, and only your imagination is the limitation there. So that's how Anita and our team were introduced, is through our Out in the Wild network. One of our vendor partners knew of Anita, and maybe knew Anita. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. How did that work out? And do you remember, you know, the initial conversation and what happened, Anita?
Of course, yes. So I was working closely, you know, with a vendor, and they, you know, they said, hey, I'd love for you to connect with a company, UPP, to see if, you know, this is something you could help with different projects for them. Nothing really too serious at the time. And so when we finally met, I thought it was just going to be a quick, hi, hey, I'm Anita. I can do a couple different projects for you here and there. Well, then I think it was, in your perspective, just a typical weekly meeting. But then we kind of got to talking, and during that Zoom meeting, we kind of both, I think, clicked to say, hey, there's potentially more that I could offer to UPP. And then for me, just with that quick first interaction interview, which I was blown away that it turned and developed so quickly at the beginning, and to say, hey, I think we're ready to try and do the team interview or things like that. So I thought it was really interesting how a typical Monday turned into something so fantastic. And being able to always be aware that you never know who you're going to connect with and network, and who those people are going to connect you with. And so I think that was a very unique way of meeting. Our first phone call / first interview process was kind of very organic, and it evolved into something, unstoppable.
I like that. Absolutely true. So let's talk about the mindset of the best people out there to join an organization, because, I've got to continue to give you props, Anita. Everything we've learned about you through the onboarding and the interviewing and the training and everything else, you are the best, and congratulations for that. But, so the mindset of the best people out there, they're curious, they're intrigued, they want to learn more about an organization. Any leaders out there who might be, interviewing people and looking for people, what should they be thinking about if they encounter somebody? Should they always jump into the conversation and at least learn more? And I think, what should their approach be, and what should their approach not be in talking to people, or should it just be wide open transparency?
No, I think that is actually one of the first things that I admired in our first interview process, is the understanding that you had to just ask genuine questions and then listen to my response. I could tell that you were truly engaged in listening, because when I eventually did the team interview, you followed up with things that I already brought up in the first interview, and you were engaged with what I said before. And to me, that showed me that you are appreciative of who I was, and you really were wanting to get to know me as an employer and also as a person. So I really valued that efforts of being able to communicate with me, and then also listening and hearing what I had to say to you.
Yeah, thank you. 100% agree. It's now 6-1. I'm not sure if we've gotten to the point in our relationship with where you have any idea what I just said. Do you know that yet?
Let me see. I think you say you have to hear it 6 times and then you say it once. I don't know.
No, that's another training, but good try. So it was 5-1 for quite some time. And then a recent podcast vendor, Selah Hirsch, coined something else. So it's now 6-1. So we have 2 ears, 2 eyes. That's 4, right? 1 mind, that's 5. And it was 5-1 mouth. And Selah said, we also need to be listening with our heart. So we have to use all 6 of those faculties, if you will, to our 1 mouth to learn more.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And so, just so you know, and for everybody out there who's interviewing people or talking about recruiting people, we've got to learn to listen and pay attention. Now that we have the Zoom aspect, I mean, you're so privileged to be able to have the flexibility to be wherever you want in the world because of who you become, right? And congratulations to you and your family. This Zoom thing is real. So, eyes, ears, mind, and heart to the 1 mouth. So you learned more about us because of, the listening. Talk about the, interviews, if you will, for just a minute. So, to remind everybody, part of, the value that we provide in our Platinum and Elite coaching programs is a complete set of interview questions and documents. So you went through the phone interview, you went through the first interview, you went through the team interview, you went through our profiling for personality and fit and what motivates you and all of that. So talk about all that combined. How did that make you feel as you went through it? And what were you thinking at the end of all of that?
Yeah, so I would say there are a lot of different point of views to that I had going through that process. And the reason why is because I was actually going through another process with another company. Their process was a little bit different. And it didn't seem as nurtured and as cared for as your process. And so when I was going through it, I was a little shocked because I was like, oh, wow, they really are wanting to make sure that I'm a good fit for them. But then it also allowed me, and they were very transparent, that are they a good fit for me? And to me, having that be able to really, they're interviewing me as much as I'm interviewing them, really shows how they want this relationship to be long lasting and to be able to be, yes, a professional and be able to make sure I'm doing the work that needs to be done, but also personal, to know that I'm a part of the work culture and that I fit well into this work culture. Because just because I may be, really good at my job and be able to do all things, if I don't fit well into what UPP stands for, then I'm really not going to be the best fit. So for my end, going through those processes, it allowed me to have that ability to know if this was the good direction for me. And it was really interesting that they put the DISC test as well as the team test, because it showed me that, okay, they really want to know how I communicate. They really want to know how I succeed, how I like to get feedback and things like that. So, and they also provided the test for me. So I've been able to read up and kind of understand my own self as an employee and as a person. So for me, those steps seemed more nurtured and allowed me to really know that this was a good direction for myself and for UPP as well.
Yeah. And for anybody listening out, thank you for sharing all that. Super appreciate it. But, it's really all about, are we a good fit for the individual candidate? And ultimately, at the end of the day, are they a good fit for our organization? Because, it's been said for years, a happy person is a productive person per se. And I'm also looking back at, culture, eat strategy and everything else for breakfast right now. The best players like Anita, they're looking for a sense of belonging, a special community, and a culture with great people. So all of our interviewing questions are designed to bring that feeling to the table both ways, but to identify if it's present or not, right?
Exactly. And I think one of the most powerful questions that I remember was, what motivates you? And to me, when you're in a professional work environment, you're like, money, easy. But then when I really started hearing more of the questions and understanding and how I actually truly am motivated, for myself, it wasn't the case. I mean, yes, of course, money is going to make sure you have the life that you're wanting to live, but also flexibility for me is really, really important. And that UPP was able to kind of, even in the interview process, be able to say, no, we want to be what motivates you. And if we are able to be able to be flexible with where you are, how you work, then yeah, that's a good fit for me. And also UPP, the way that they work, that's a good fit for them. So if my motivation was strictly only one thing and they couldn't fit that, maybe that wouldn't have been a good fit. But I thought that was really, really interesting how you genuinely asked me, what is my motivator? And it took me a second to finally realize how important that question really was to me as an employer.
Yeah, it's kind of like all the UPP-isms that you're learning, right? It takes you a second to like, what just happened? What is this? What does this mean? What does this mean? And everything else that's flying around, what are these acronyms? PX3, MFF, LNR, GWF. I mean.
Oh, I have a chart. I have a chart now that every time I hear something new, it's on there. So I'm going to try and make a pretty graphic or something so we can just have it around.
I'd love to have a picture of that in a couple of months so we can, because we've got people that are, clamoring. What does all this mean? We hear it all the time. We don't know. We want to know, and et cetera, et cetera. So
I'm learning too, and I have it. I'm right. I'm not just thinking it, I'm inking it.
Yeah, exactly. So, by the way, as a side fun note, that's right. We did tell this story already because you're AFUH.
Yes, a foo.
Yeah. And ultimately, did we get to the point where I told the story about that was born in a boardroom in Birmingham, Alabama, a number of years ago?
No, I actually don't know the history of that story.
Okay, so anyway, remind me. I'll fill you in on that. It's kind of a long story. So we get back to the matter at hand. So we were talking about excellent people, the best available, like Anita. They want a sense of belonging, special community. But the other thing is that we've learned they want to be challenged. And so think back through the recruiting, the interviewing, the onboarding, and now even the training process that you've gone through. People, the best, are inspired by big, bold ideas, big goals, and the chance to do something great. So what did you learn through the recruiting and interviewing process that identified in your mind that might be possible here?
Absolutely. So one, what UPP stands for as a mission and a cause, and just in general, the energy that you have is to always push yourself and get out of your comfort zone and just grow as a person and as a business. And so for me, that's always been something. I mean, I push myself out of my comfort zone every day, and it gets frustrating, but it also, I see the reward. I see that knowing that I am going to be able to be where I want to be, and being able to have that in a work environment, and having, my team members, or my bosses, I guess leaders, that's the word I was looking for, leaders, I should say, being able to know that they're always wanting to make me better and constantly have me grow is something that was very huge for me. I have a lot of respect for Andrea and yourself, because you're allowing me to constantly learn and grow with what I already know, but I'm making it better. So with your questions and how the interview process was, I could tell that you knew that if you were wanting to stay still, or if I was just wanting to be content, that wasn't what you were looking for or I was looking for. I knew that you want to push and you want to grow and be able to make something really, really cool and special with UPP.
So ultimately, to give another spin on it, the interview questions and your identification of who we were as an organization through the interview questions helped you identify, at least in your mind, maybe even in your heart as well, since that's part of the 6, what our culture was like.
Yes.
And you identified at some point that was a culture that you wanted to be a part of.
Absolutely. I mean, even just in your curriculum in general, of what you offer with your members, and in the energy that you have towards life itself, it was something that through questions and through your general energy and passion, it just came out that you want to constantly grow. And also you shared a lot of books with me. And so I wrote them all down so I can constantly be growing that way, or I should say listening. I'm more of an audible person, but yes, I think that's one of the things that was really stuck out. Yeah.
So, and I know it's tough for you because of your flexibility in travels to get actually the books themselves, but whatever that looks like, I always buy the book at the same time I buy the Audible, because I like to go back through it and I dog ear it and I highlight, and when I see it after I've learned it, and sometimes I go back through it twice, it just cements into this thick thing up here. Back to Anita. Thank you. So you want to be part of something big. You want big, bold ideas, big goals, and you feel the culture that you identified possessed that, and you wanted to be part of that. It's kind of leading you in, right? So the other thing about the best, not the best available, like Anita, they want to see a pathway to a better future. As you went through the recruiting, interviewing, even the onboarding and training process, are you able to, from a vision standpoint, see a pathway to a better future?
Yes. And yourself and Andrea, especially during, I would say, the onboarding and training session, the way that you lead gives me the support and the strength to know that I can create something here, and I can do it by being able to have it for myself, but then also knowing that I have that support if I have a lesson or a win, knowing that I have that. And I think that's really, really important, because as someone who wants to independently work and be able to grow and constantly being able to know that, okay, but you're not by yourself. Like, you have these awesome team members and awesome leaders that are going to, let you do it, but will also be there to support you with your lessons and your wins. If something comes up, and knowing that shows the growth that I can do for this company and for UPP. And I know Andrea has plenty of ideas, and so do we. When we start meeting, and we just get excited about what the future can hold, and what we can, really concentrate on those certain tasks and goals. So I think, especially with the training and onboarding, that's been a huge way to show me how I can grow my career with anything I do with great leaders.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't at least sprinkle this in. When you're talking about new things that are being developed and growth and all that, are you referring also to the framework that's coming up?
Yeah. I am talking to the framework, and we also have the members website as well that we can.
So you're excited about that as well?
Yes, there are plenty of new things that will be coming, because we're here to grow UPP, and the experience is also something that's extremely important. So
we just want to help people live the UPP life, right?
Yes, exactly. Make it easier, and always constantly, pushing them to learn more.
That's right. If we want to have more, we have to become more, because we attract exactly what we are and who we've become. Which brings me to my next point. You just said it, and I'm not sure exactly how you said it, but growth. People want to feel better about themselves. I mean, it's that simple. Part of the reason that I get up in the morning before dawn and do what I do is, selfishly, to an extent, when I invest an hour and a half or so to become more, I feel better about the future of the day, if you will. And so you identified through the recruiting, the interviewing, the onboarding, and the training that growth was present, and that's what you wanted.
Yes. And I think that was one of the things, is knowing that I have a very well background experience, with marketing and video production, but there are still some skills I wanted to fine tune. No one has everything mastered. And if they do, I don't believe it. I feel like that's not true, because everyone has to work on something. And for me, having a leader and a teacher like Andrea, being able to help me fine tune those skills has really, helped me through that process, and be able to kind of figure out what I like and what I don't like in, this type of, marketing, and how I can fine tune the skills that I've like, oh, I really, really like that. So I really want this to be one of my strengths, and kind of work on that and really narrow it down. And then the ones that I don't really like, still fine tuning and saying you got to do it anyway, and you're going to do it better. So I think it's one of those things that no matter what it is, that shows me that I constantly can grow, because you allowed me to have that skill set and great teachers. And then also I've been doing a lot of training programs, that Andrea sent, like, hey, Loomly has this, hey, or a software has this, a software has that. So I think it's been really fascinating, because yes, Andrea has 1,000 things to do too, but knowing that I can utilize other systems, other organizational tools to grow myself as well. So I think being able to know that there's always resources out there, and as leaders, you're very open to allow those resources to help me grow, is something that was really beneficial as well too.
Fantastic. Thank you for being so transparent and candid and sharing and helping people through this.
Yeah, I think it's really important because, again, this process it's especially when you're looking for a job. On my point of view, it's very nerve-wracking because it is something that, like, yes, you are looking for something and you'd want something, but you want something that's right for you, and you want something that's right for the company, or else it's not going to be long term. So I think really appreciating a company that values your time and is really listening to you is something you just can't pass up. You have to really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. And just for everybody who, if you're listening to this, reminder, you can go to YouTube and search Unstoppable Profit Producer and go to the videos, and you can see these podcasts with the visual as well. So we have something here on the visual, not only our acre of diamonds, if you will. And, Anita, I'm not sure if you know about this. The gold nuggets.
The golden nugget.
That's
yes.
right. Because what came to my mind, Anita is dropping gold nugget after gold nugget after gold nugget. Thank you for sharing these. And for anybody who does not know, Andrea Wyatt is our program director in UPP. So if you're new to the podcast and you hear that name coming up a lot, Andrea Wyatt is our program director in UPP. Amazing, amazing person. She is the rock of the organization, and we're grateful for her. But, you know, Anita, some 12, 13 years ago, Andrea was feeling the same way. And she told me later on, is this for real? Are you know, is this organization, you guys really do this stuff? I mean, is it all for real? I said, it is for real. And I said something to her, which I later found out when she and I went through a mastery course and learning how to recruit and interview and actually bring on excellent people based on their personalities, their profiles, and who they are as persons, that there's certain words that you don't say to certain personalities. And one of her situations was, you know, early on, I would say, yes, it's for real. Yes, it's going to work. Just trust me. And I later found out, based on Andrea's personality, because she's stable, steady, you know, always the force, right? You don't say that to somebody of Andrea's personality, but fortunately for me and for all of us, she hung in there anyway, and away we grow. So
yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it.
And let's just talk about number 5 and culture, strategy, and everything else for breakfast, and the best, not the best available, like Anita Hernandez. The other thing is money. You know, so you've got to be aware how your ads and everything else you're putting out there in the world read with relation to all of this, including money. But, you know, you have something. We sometimes do a working interview, and you went through that and how we address money and those kind of conversations. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was our last interview process, was the working interview. And I really enjoy working interview process, especially as a marketer. You know, you'd want to see if my work and my compatibility is going to be similar to what you're looking for. And so, yes, being able to show you a portfolio is great, but being able to then give you, you know, some assignments and being able to see if your success is also, you know, aligned with what your vision is. The working interview was very beneficial because, to me, I've had working interviews before and prompts, and they gave you assignments, but they didn't value your time. And why I say it that way is because one thing that I realized is when they offered this working interview, UPP goes, well, we'll make sure that we're going to compensate you for your hours that you're putting in. And to me, I was like, what? I feel like I usually just put in so many hours, and other companies don't really value that time for me, or me as, you know, because I have other projects, contracts, things like that going on. Well, when UPP said those words to me, that instantly won me over, because it showed to me that you valued me as a person and my time and my work, to know that even though it, you know, it doesn't have to be a lot, but to me, just that gesture of, you know, no, this is what you trust and value my time, that gives me the ability to like, oh, this company that I'd want to work for. It just shows that little bit of a gesture.
Well, thank you for sharing that as well. And it's so vitally important. As you know, you're learning, I should say, maybe you have or have not heard this. The law of reciprocity is always in effect. Mm-hmm. And so you get what you give in this world. So we want to provide the value and show the value to people so they understand. And just answer this for me and answer. I've never asked you this question, so I don't know. But at the end of the day, having gone through the recruiting, the interviewing, the onboarding, and the training process, at the end of the day, is money your number one priority in a position in a growing, thriving organization?
It is not. And I think that question that you finally, when again, that full circle of you genuinely ask me what motivates you, your first response is money. You just think of it. And then you're like, wait a minute. No, I've been in positions that offer money and I've also left those positions. So clearly there's something that's just not the actual motivator. And so I feel like once you find an environment that fits you and shows that they can give you what motivates you, which is flexibility, great work culture, and just genuinely good leaders and people, then you tend to get excited to go to work every day. And with that interview process that I went through with UPP, that was what I was able to take out of it, which was awesome experience to go through.
Wow. I hope I'm going to go back to it again. More gold nuggets from Anita. That could be, aha. I just had an aha moment myself. Thank you, Anita. So ultimately, at the end of the way, she just dropped gold nugget after gold nugget about really what you need to be thinking about as you're looking to recruit and interview and actually hire and onboard and train people. It's not always about the money. There's other things that are in play. Yes, money is important. Don't get me wrong, because it shows value, but wow. Anita, thank you for your gold nuggets, your time today, and just sharing openly and transparently with the people of Unstoppable Nation. I hope everybody got great value about in this today with a real live team member who's gone through the first 4 or 5 phases of our system. And you heard it here first live on the results. As we wrap up today, anything else you'd like to add, Anita?
No, I'm just excited that I get to meet all the UPP members and just eventually, be able to live the UPP life, So Thank you so much. And I feel already the love bombs of being welcomed, and I'm very grateful, and I continue on to be a team member the best I can.
We are grateful and thankful for you. In fact, I believe I've already profiled you. I don't know if you know this or not, on my gratitude and thankfulness journey of 365. I can't remember what day you were. You're somewhere in the 40s, but anyway, thank you.
Awesome.
I am thankful and grateful for you. So anyway, let's grow, right?
Let's grow.
Let's grow. Fantastic. So everybody, hey, give some props to Anita Hernandez. If you have an opportunity to connect with her, give her props for who she is as a person, because remember this, friends, we attract exactly what we are and who we've become. And if you're not growing every day, if you're not getting better every day, that you're not going to attract people like Anita. So you got to work on yourself first. As all of you know, we're always looking in the mirror of truth every single day. There's only one person that stands between you and everything you want in this world. It's right there in the mirror of truth. So keep working on yourself. And I would also be remiss if I didn't mention, because it came to my mind at least 3 or 4 times during this podcast, my current book is Choose Your Story, Choose Your Life by Kendra Hall. I strongly recommend it. It's on Audible as well, because those stories that we tell ourselves, I mean, Anita might have a story within her she's not aware of that equates money is the measuring stick when you think about a career position. And then she found out it's not. And so we need to be aware and identify those stories within ourselves, because it really translates to how we act and what we do every day. So there's one for your stack of future learning, Anita.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
welcome.
You
for your time.
You are welcome. Hey, if this is your first time on the podcast, welcome. Just so you know, my name is Mike Stromsoe. I'm widely recognized as a leading author, speaker, and coach for the independent insurance agency industry. You can find me at unstoppableprofitproducer.com. If you're interested in attending a virtual or live event to grow your business, create wealth, so you too can have more freedom to live life on your own terms and live the UPP life, our virtual event portal is uppfaststart.com, or you can go to our live event portal, beunstoppablebootcamp.com. Both events are designed to share with you some of our best money-making strategies, proven over 36 years of research in your industry as real agents and agency entrepreneurs. Again, these strategies will help you grow your business, create wealth, so you too can have more freedom to live life on your own terms. And please make sure you go to our podcast website, unstoppableprofitpodcast.com. Go up to the top, subscribe so you don't miss one episode full of gold nuggets, just like the one you just experienced. You can also find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, our YouTube channel, and more. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. And until next time, get out there, make a difference, be unstoppable, and leave no regrets. Anita Hernandez, thankful, grateful for you. You rock. Appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. And don't forget.
Bye, everyone.
You got this. We believe in you. Be unstoppable. See you, Anita.
See ya. Bye, Mike.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to listen to more episodes or share this podcast with someone you care about, please visit www.unstoppableprofitpodcast.com. Now go out and make a difference. Be unstoppable and leave no regrets.